Men, this might sting. The earliest signs of cheating don't look like lipstick on a collar or flirty DMs left open. They look like small, deniable shifts. If your gut has been buzzing, don't ignore it. Beat. I'm going to walk you through 9 early signs most guys miss because they're subtle, socially acceptable, and easy to explain away. Miss them, and you burn months in limbo. Catch them early, and you move with clarity. We're discussing behaviors in unhealthy dynamics, not generalizing to everyone. Use this to spot patterns, set boundaries, and choose healthy relationships. Here's the ugly truth most men learn too late. Cheating is rarely a single bad decision. It's a build. A quiet sequence that goes secrecy, distance, justification. By the time you see something obvious, the foundation was poured weeks ago. So we're going upstream to the first hairline cracks. The earliest crack is a privacy upgrade that comes out of nowhere. The phone goes face down, notifications are turned off, or suddenly, only alerts, then, no preview. A new passcode. A new app for work that gets used at odd hours. Or they step into the hallway for routine calls they used to take next to you. None of this proves cheating. But here's the pattern. Secrecy without a safety reason, sustained across days, defended by, "I'm just a private person." Translation, it's not privacy, it's opacity. Let me show you how it plays out. Mark, 28, lives with his girlfriend. For 2 years, the phones lived face up on the coffee table. Then one Tuesday, she changes the passcode. Face ID makes it easier. Fine. Then, 2 days later, she silences all notifications during dinner. The next week, the screen starts getting swiped away when he walks in. Mark tells himself not to be controlling. He doesn't ask questions because he wants to be chill. 3 months later, he sees a work group chat with exactly one person. The story has been engineered. Plausible deniability first, then distance, then the narrative. What Mark missed wasn't a message thread. He missed the shift in default openness. And this is where most men get blindsided. You're raised to be low maintenance, so you pride yourself on not sweating the small stuff. But secrecy is never small, especially when it arrives with a story preloaded. They say, "I'm just a private person about my phone." Could mean, "There's someone or something I don't want you to see." Verify by, suggest a mutual rule for a week. Phones face up in common spaces, no devices in bed. See if the vibe turns cooperative or combative. Respond with, "I value transparency. If basic openness triggers defensiveness, we have a problem." Now notice what happens next. The second crack isn't dramatic either. It's schedule fog. A new cluster of late nights with vague edges. Don't wait up. Work's crazy. My friend needs me. Again, life can get busy. People can have seasons. But what you're watching for is a consistent shift from specific to vague. Meeting until 8, then dinner with the team at Cucina becomes running late, stuff came up. Details go down. Availability narrows. Weekends get pre-booked with no names or locations. If you ask, you get a story that sounds like a press release. Clean, non-specific, impossible to fail. In healthy dynamics, busy comes with clarity. I'm on deadline back by 9. Rain check Friday? In unhealthy ones, busy comes with fog and a vibe that punishes curiosity. There's a reason this is an early sign. Time is the currency of every relationship. To build a second lane, they need hours that aren't accountable. Don't wait up isn't just about sleep. It's about slowly training you to stop tracking reality. The less you track, the easier it is to rewrite the past. A month later, you're arguing about, "You never told me about that." And they're saying, "I did. You weren't listening." You start doubting your own memory. Now, here's the curveball most guys don't see because it feels nice. Guilt-driven generosity. Suddenly, out of nowhere, your partner becomes extra thoughtful. Your favorite snack from the store, surprise coffee. "I booked a couples massage for us." Sweet, right? Yes. And also, Sometimes it's an emotional smokescreen. If they're crossing lines, they'll often overcompensate to manage guilt and keep you soothed. It's not that gifts equal cheating, it's the timing and the pattern. You'll often see two things paired: kindness spikes, accountability drops. So you feel cared for, but you can't actually get a straight answer about last night. A quick gut check for that pattern: generosity that buys silence. You try to bring up the schedule fog, and instead of clarity, you get, "But I did all this for you." Now you're the ingrate if you keep pressing. Manipulation by kindness is still manipulation. Men, you're allowed to enjoy love and ask for reality. Another sign that sneaks right past you because it can look like self-improvement: the sudden overhaul. New wardrobe, new cologne, new gym routine, new hair, new everything. All great pursuits on their own. What shifts it into "watch this closely" is the combination. The upgrade arrives fast, coupled with solo nights out and a reluctance to include you in the new orbit. They're excited about their spin class, but you're never invited. They're the most dressed up for plans you're not attending. The scent is stronger when they come home late than when they left. Again, none of these alone indicates cheating. But together, and timed with schedule fog and privacy upgrades, you're seeing the energy migrate. The attention is going somewhere, and not back into the relationship. Andre learned this the hard way. He was thrilled when Jess got into fitness. She became consistent, bought better gear, started eating cleaner. He cheered her on. Then the classes shifted later. Don't wait up. He offered to pick her up. She said she was going with gym friends. When he asked their names, she gave him two that didn't show up on social. The hand-holding slowed. The chats got shorter. He told himself, confidence changes people. True. But confidence doesn't resist connection. It shares it. What he missed was the gatekeeping around her new world. Hold that thought, because the next pattern is the most confusing. Manufactured conflict. Partners who are slipping will often create friction to justify emotional exit. They pick fights over tiny things. They reinterpret neutral habits as sins. You didn't text back fast enough. You're so unreliable. Or they push hot-button topics right before a night out so they can leave angry and stay gone without checking in. That anger is functional. It buys them plausible separation. If they cheat later, they can say, "We were basically done." This isn't only about malice. Psychology 101 says humans try to reduce cognitive dissonance. If I want to think of myself as a good person while doing something harmful, I'll subconsciously paint you as the problem. It's ugly. It's common. It's why the first fights can feel unusually mean. If you've noticed secrecy, fog, overcompensation, an overhaul, and newly hostile air, stay awake. This isn't paranoia. It's pattern recognition. And this is where your response matters. Before we go deeper, a quiet moment for your sanity. You're not weak for loving someone and wanting to believe them, but you're not obligated to abandon your reality to keep the peace. The test isn't whether you can catch somebody. It's whether you can advocate for a relationship where truth is normal, not negotiated.
Let's get into the next 4 signs, and then we'll make it practical so you know exactly how to respond without losing yourself. Pause. The 6th sign shows up as a new friend. They keep separate. They mention the person, a coworker, gym buddy, neighbor, but there's something off about the story. You only hear this person's name after the hangouts happened. You never meet them, even by accident. If you suggest a group hang, there's suddenly a reason. It's impossible. You hear that friend's opinions in your living room, but the friend never enters your living room. In healthy life, new connections get integrated, not immediately, not forcibly, but organically. In unhealthy setups, the friend exists in a sealed compartment. The compartment protects a fantasy. They say, "You don't need to meet everyone in my life." Could mean, "I'm protecting a specific bond from accountability." Verify by propose a low-pressure meet coffee with both of you, plus a couple of your mutuals, and watch their reaction, not just their words. Respond with, "I respect your independence, and I won't be in a relationship with hidden compartments." This dovetails with a 7th sign that lives in the bedroom, but it's more subtle than people think. Either intimacy drops to transactional, less eye contact, less after connection, or it swings to sudden novelty that feels performative rather than shared. Sometimes desire genuinely fluctuates. Estress is hell. But when you see sexual rhythm change alongside secrecy and fog, pay attention to how present they are with you. People who are splitting their attention often dissociate in bed. They might seek physical closeness to soothe guilt without letting you in emotionally. Or they bring new preferences into the room without any curiosity, like you're being compared to a mental template you didn't consent to. We're not judging tastes, we're naming a pattern. Intimacy is no longer the meeting place. It's a cover, a checklist, or an avoidant corner. Here's the 8th, social media sanitization. It's a sneaky one because, yes, people deserve online privacy, but we've all seen the difference between privacy and erasure. Watch for untagging couple photos for aesthetic, but keeping solo shots with thirst-heavy vibes. Watch for private stories that you know exist, but you're not on. Watch for surgically spotless comments under their posts, while they're unusually active in DMs or in the comments under people they won't name. The public-facing narrative gets neutral. The engagement behind the scenes ramps up. In early cheating dynamics, the feed becomes brand safe, while attention migrates to the back. They say, "I don't like posting my relationship online," could mean I'm clearing the runway to flirt without social accountability. Verified by. Ask for consistent offline transparency, instead detailed plans, FaceTime check-ins during travel, ordinary inclusion in friend groups. Respond with, "I'm fine being private online, but I won't be hidden offline." And the 9th sign is the smallest, but it's the foundation. Boundary testing with tiny lies. Names in the phone swapped for generic labels. Work group, that's one person. "My phone died when you literally saw it at 70% 30 minutes earlier." Stories that shift upon repeat. These microlies are pilot programs. If you let them pass, the system goes live. Honesty isn't just about the big things. It's a muscle built on small reps. When a partner chooses to be precise, even about inconvenient truths, it builds safety. When they choose easy fictions, it builds escape routes. Carlos, 35, was 2 months into long distance when this started. At first, the time zone excuse made sense. Then he noticed his calls got sent to voicemail, but she was active on social 5 minutes later. Saturday plans evaporated with family stuff, and he found out via a friend's story she was at a rooftop bar. When he brought it up, she said, "You're being paranoid." The next week, she picked a fight on Friday and went silent all weekend. Months later, he learned it wasn't a sudden betrayal. It was a prototype that succeeded, scaled, and went live. What hurt wasn't just the cheating. It was how slowly he let himself doubt his eyes. Which brings us to the part nobody tells you: why these signs cluster. Research suggests that infidelity requires 3 conditions: opportunity, justification, and secrecy. Opportunity is time and access. Hence, schedule fog and new orbits. Justification is the story they tell themselves to feel like a good person. Cue the manufactured conflict. Projection. And we're basically done anyway. Secrecy is the infrastructure phone changes. Friend gatekeeping, social media hygiene. The human brain hates cognitive dissonance, so it rearranges reality to make bad choices feel survivable. That's why you'll see kindness spikes. 2, guilt needs to feel like love. Now, let's make this practical. You can't control another adult. You can control your standards, your questions, and your exits. The goal isn't to build a courtroom. It's to build conditions where the truth is easy to tell and hard to dodge. Start calm, start direct, start early. Here are 3 translation moments you'll likely encounter and what to do with them. They say, "Why don't you trust me?" Could mean, "I want to talk about your feelings instead of the facts." Verify by. Ignore the bait and ask for details: who, where, when, and. See if the answers are specific, consistent, and volunteered. Respond with, "I do trust," and trust lives on Claritiso. "I'm asking for clear plans." They say, "You're trying to control me." Could mean, "I'm equating curiosity with control to avoid accountability." Verify by. Offer a boundary, not a rule. For example, "Do what you want. Here's what I'll do." If this persists, and watch whether they negotiate in good faith. Respond with, "I'm not controlling you. I'm choosing what I'll stay for." They say, "I need space." Could mean, "I'm creating room for a second storyline." Verify by. Agree to space and set a check-in timeline. Watch whether they use that time to reduce fog or to expand it. Respond with, Space is fine. Let's set clear expectations so it's not a breakup in disguise. Listen calm, consistent boundaries beat detective work. Give them a chance to step into honesty. If they don't, you step into integrity. 2 lines you can copy-paste when your back is against the wall. I care about us, and I won't participate in a relationship with secret compartments. If transparency feels unsafe, I'll step back. I don't do accusations or surveillance. I do clarity. If we can't rebuild that, I'll remove myself with respect. And because I want you equipped, here's a simple checklist to navigate the next week if 2 or more signs are present. Track patterns, not one-offs. Write down specific shifts in time, tone, and tech for 7 days without confronting. Ask 1 clean question at a calm time. Can you walk me through your week with specifics? Propose 1 transparency habit for 7 days. Face up phones in shared spaces. Quick check-in calls before late nights. Or including you in 1 new orbit. Watch for cooperation versus defensiveness. Treat the response as data, not a verdict on your worth. State your boundary and consequence once, clearly. Don't repeat it endlessly. Make a plan for your own life. Gym, friends, sleep, work. Don't let anxiety hijack your routine. Set a decision date. In 7 to 10 days, based on data and cooperation, you'll either recommit together or you'll detach. A couple of small moves that seem obvious but save you hours of circular talk. Have real conversations in person or on video, not in long text threads. Tone matters. When you ask questions, let silence work. People who are honest, fill it with details. People who aren't will accuse or escape. When you hear a story twice, check if it stayed the same. Consistency is kindness. You might be thinking, what if I'm wrong? I don't want to blow up something good. That's the right Farad. It's why we're using verification over accusation. You're not building a case, you're inviting reality. In healthy dynamics, your partner won't love the questions, but they'll love that you want to build a relationship where both of you can relax. They'll add data voluntarily. They'll propose fixes to. In toxic dynamics, your curiosity becomes the crime. You'll get fog, fights, and flipbacks to your flaws. 1 more perspective shift before we wrap. You don't patch holes with denial. You patch holes with air and light. If they're cheating, the light will drive the truth out. If they're not, the air will deepen trust. Either way, you win by being the man who chooses clarity over chaos. You're not the paranoid guy. You're the guy with a high bar for love. You ask good questions. You lead with calm. You protect your future. And if you're still in the fog, try this narrative reframe. You're not here to catch someone. You're here to choose someone who chooses you back in the open. No more. Maybe if I'm chill enough, it'll stop. That's not chill. That's self-abandonment labeled as patience. Your standard is simple. Mutual transparency, consistent effort, kind accountability. Anything less is a polite no. Let me leave you with a quick mental image you won't forget. In aviation, pilots don't argue with the smoke alarm. They check the panel. If the panel's clean, they keep flying. If multiple lights are blinking, they land the plane. Your relationship deserves the same discipline. 1 light, watch. 2, ask. 3. Set a boundary and a timeline. 4 or more. Land it with dignity. And if you need the words in the moment, keep these in your notes. I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for truth. If you can't meet me there, I'm out. I love you enough to want the real thing. If this isn't it for you, say it, and I'll let go. Men, if this helped you see the patterns, we go deep on the psychology and we keep it honest, practical, and respectful. Your future self will thank you. Subscribe now and let's raise your standard together. Lower.